approval of the agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, Stacy. Moved by Judy, second by Stacy. Any discussion? I'd like to have flexibility in tonight's agenda. I would like to do our recognitions first and recognize our students and staff who are here tonight, but then move straight to strategic planning because we have a number of people who might be interested in the strategic planning discussion and hopefully approval. So we're going to rearrange the agenda if that's all right and have some flexibility with it tonight. Great. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Moved by Kevin, second by Stacy. Any discussion?
I just want to comment that we're accepting donations from our community of $1,600. We appreciate it very much, and we will use that money for meet the needs of the district with the interest of what it was donated for. And we thank you all, whoever gave it to us, very much.
Thank you. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, presentations and recognitions. We're going to start with the parent-teacher organization. Liz is going to present. Thank you.
Slides. I know Patrick is working on. All right, thanks. Hello, my name is Liz Pelvier, and it's my honor tonight to talk to you about the incredible work of two members of our community, Tony Vasuni and Janelle Metcalf, who are in the right-hand picture there. They have been on the Mahtomedi PTO board for the last 5 years, with Tony as our president and Janelle as our treasurer, and their work has made a real and tangible difference in our two elementary schools. Tony and Janelle have never lost sight of the PTO's mission to promote a sense of community among parents and teachers, provide enrichment opportunities not otherwise available to students, and conduct fundraising events for specific needs identified in partnership with the schools. They are wonderful stewards of our schools and the funds raised by our elementary families. In their time with the PTO, Tony and Janelle have raised more than $300,000. And let that number sink in, because this is the accumulation of mostly smaller $20 to $50 donations at a time. And they have volunteered more than 5,000 hours of their time, which I roughly estimated it's probably a lot more than that. I think it's important to note that Tony and Janelle have donated that much of their time to our PTO and our schools because they have their own busy, busy lives. They each have 2 elementary-age children, 1 middle school now, and are involved in many different organizations. Tony is a district curriculum committee member. He was heavily involved in the Vote Yes 832 campaign. He is the leader of the Cub Scout Pack 89. He contributes to St. Andrew's youth programming and is a member of the Garnet Masonic Lodge. Janelle has volunteered with many school programs, including Card Sharks, the Fun Run, the Fun Fair, book fairs, Art Adventure. She does a lot of classroom volunteering. She's also a Mahtomedi fast pitch softball coach and one of our district's most popular substitute teachers. The point being, these are very busy individuals, and they are amazingly giving of themselves to this community. And every single elementary student in the last 5 years has reaped the rewards of that generosity. Let's see, I have a couple slides. I want to show some of the cool stuff that the PTO does and has done with Tony and Janelle at the helm. So we have Fun Run, we have the book fair, the K-9 unit came in and read to a couple classrooms. So I'll just page through these. To Tony and Janelle's students come first. I have personally watched them carefully evaluate how the PTO spends every dollar to ensure that money touches as many students as possible. Under their leadership, the PTO has managed about a $90,000 annual budget and has funded new playground equipment, literacy tools and software used in all of the homerooms and reading rooms, fun programs like Card Sharks, Art Adventure, the Fun Run, the Fun Fair, and Trail Day, all the busing for field trips, music programs, assemblies, and even responsive classroom training for new teachers. Tony and Janelle are people of strong character, and everyone they work with in the schools has seen their overall positivity and kindness. They're like celebrities to a lot of the kids in our schools, and they have taken the responsibility of leading with kindness and morality very, very seriously. As someone who's taking over one of their roles on the PTO board, I am indebted to them for the positive relationship they've created between the PTO and the school teachers and staff. And Tony and Janelle are simply really nice people to work with. So I asked the women who work in both of the offices to give us some quotes, and I'm going to read them so that you can see them, because they were so excited to talk about Tony and Janelle, because they are really going to miss them. So from Beth, she said, Tony has been so wonderful to work with during his time with the PTO. One item that has really been a positive for both the schools and the parents has been the school supply online orders. He took this item and really made it work for our building. I can't thank him enough for all he has done for OH, our families, and staff. And Janelle has been a dream to work with. She was so organized and was always willing to work out purchases and support needs for OH. She not only has been an amazing treasurer, she is one of my favorite substitute teachers to have in the building. Janelle is there for me in a pinch and willing to offer solutions. She is a gem. I don't know what I would have done without her support these last 5 years. And from Mrs. Chow, she said, Tony couldn't be more positive, organized, thoughtful, or easy to work with. We can't thank him enough for the countless hours he has given our school district. He always thinks of us and even fills our candy drawers, which the new principal is expecting me to keep doing this because he's really excited. You cannot imagine what that means to teachers and staff. He's a great resource for the district because he is a forward thinker and has the ability and experience to see something from many different angles. Tony is a blessing to all of us. And Janelle is an amazing member of our Wildwood family. Not only is she a great PTO treasurer, she is a great parent, substitute teacher, and more. I can't even imagine all the work she puts in behind the scenes for our district, and she does it with a smile. We greatly appreciate everything she does. So to close, I would like to say on behalf of all elementary parents, thank you to Tony and Janelle for their service. Your work has been incredible, and I'm very excited to carry on in your tradition. So thank you. It gets even more official. So this is the award for Janelle Metcalf on behalf of the school district. I hand it to you, and I think you go over to Barb now.
Okay. Oh, there's a whole.
And Tony, this is yours. Thank you so much.
Where do you want to get from? Tommy and Janelle, would you get in the middle there in the center? That'd be great. Thank you. And then just, no, I always have Okay, so let's see, Judy, Kevin, can you scoot down a little bit there? Perfect. Thank you.
I think there might be slides. Are there slides? Okay, let's just stand for the slide. Okay. All right.
Oh, I guess I should do something.
Okay. Tony Pierce is coming.
Next,
I think,
yep,
right?
Tony Pierce, thank you.
Okay.
All right, hello everybody. I am here tonight to recognize Shelley Mitchell. Shelley started working with Mahtomedi in August in 2000. She is being recognized tonight for her work with the Mahtomedi students and most recently the Mahtomedi Strike Force, who we have represented throughout our audience, our adaptive bowling team. For approximately 7 years, starting in 2000, Shelley worked in the general education and adaptive Phi-Ed, mainly at Mahtomedi High School. Then in 2009, she went full-time with adaptive Phi-Ed and has been offering services to all our kids district-wide since then. In addition to teaching, Shelley has taught gymnastics through Mahtomedi Community Education nearly year-round for the past 18 years. She has worked with preschoolers on up through middle school students. Pam Klinkhammer, our youth coordinator and facilities manager, Mahtomedi Community Education, shared the following about Shelley. While teaching gymnastic skills, Shelley also focuses on life skills such as independence, self-confidence, and fosters social and emotional growth by creating a supportive, healthy, safe, and fun learning environment. Her students continue to build their skill level along with self-discipline, and many have gone on to have very successful high school athletic careers, and not just in gymnastics. The Mahtomedi community benefits greatly from Shelley's work, and she is a role model to a multitude of students in the district. On her teacher website, Shelley says the following: working with kids in grades K through 12 is just one of the perks I get to enjoy every day. I take great pride in being part of the Mahtomedi School District staff and community. I graduated from Mahtomedi, and I'm proud to be part of Zephyr alumni. So up here we have some slides, and we'll see if the first picture is with one of our bowlers, Kari. And here is a little video that we'll see if we can get this to go.
Pat on the other shoulder. There you go. Are you ready to swing?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Show me a big swing.
1 and 2 and 3.
Okay, try again.
1 and 2 and 3.
There you go. Now what happens? We hit the ball and we run our bases. There's first. Look for blue. Second. She's looking for red. There it is. And home sweet home. She's going to make it. Yay! Nice job, Kari.
There's quite a difference between then and now, and it's a testament to Shelley's work, and yeah, it's great to see. Here's another quote from a parent: "The reason Jenny rides a bike is because of Shelley." And I think these pictures they speak for themselves. This is at the X Games. What was the X Games, correct? Yeah.
Special Olympics inaugural event with BMX biking and X Games. We're hoping to make it an event every year. So 10 Minnesota athletes could apply and were able to participate.
And there's quite an array of tricks there, and if you can see in the bottom right, I believe she's standing up there, which is the big trick. So that's excellent. So Jenny, who was in the previous photos, and this one, Anderson participated in the 2019 X Games as a Special Olympic BMX biker. She rode with her unified partner, gold medalist Kyle Baldock. Jenny was interviewed by the CW, and you can see Shelley in the background taking photos of the students, which is, again, one of the reasons we're recognizing Shelley is just not only her commitment and dedication, but she really does go above and beyond for those students that she works with, and I think this picture just really sums it up. So here's a quote from Dan and Gretchen Smith, parents of Caroline: "The best teachers teach from the heart, not from the book." This quote from an unknown author fits Shelley Mitchell perfectly. We appreciate how Shelley not only recognizes our daughter's strengths, but she also truly cares about her and communicates that care in countless ways. We are big fans of Shelley Mitchell and are very happy to know that she is being honored. There's another quote from Jen Thompson: "I want to give a huge shout out to Coach Shelley Mitchell, who is the most incredible coach and teacher that these kids could ever ask for. She's provided this team and so many others for many, many years in Mahtomedi opportunities for a lifetime. She is dedicated and devoted to each one of these kids personally, working with them in adaptive Phi-Ed from kindergarten through 12th grade. We have been tremendously blessed by her throughout all of Molly's school years. And before we move on to this next slide, John would like to come up and say a couple more words.
Thank you. That was a nice quote, Jenny. I have a special affinity here in the front row. I'll try and keep this short and sweet, and just want to take a minute and talk about Shelley for a moment. Where is she? There she is. Okay, good. Both from a what standpoint and a how standpoint, and I think Jenny's quote said it well. Shelley has worked with Molly since kindergarten, and she'll be a senior here. And from a what standpoint, the things Molly has learned because of Shelley, I could go on and on and on and on, from riding a bike, as we've heard already here, to learning how to rollerblade when she was younger, learning how to swing on a swing, learning how to use the monkey bars, her first plank, learning how to do push-ups, learning how to throw a ball, catch a ball, hit a ball, you name it. I could go on and on what Shelley has taught Molly as kind of a first-person parent case study, and it's been incredible over the years. And Shelley, thank you for all of that. I think from a how standpoint too, to me that stands out even more. And the part I want to emphasize is that she has taught Molly resiliency. She has taught Molly patience. She's taught her how not to give up. And I think she's, and Jenny said this too as well, Shelley has an ability to find what motivates each of these kids individually and tune in her approach directly to that. And I've seen it with Molly, and I've seen it with all the other kids that Shelley works with too, and it's very deliberate. You can see her doing it, and Shelley's talked to us about things she's picked up on that maybe we haven't even picked up on that have made a big difference for Molly. And I think what really stands out the most to me is that she's really taught Molly what she's capable of, and has really helped her along. And when Molly doesn't think she can do something, Shelley makes it abundantly clear in the way Shelley can do that, oh yes, you can and you will. You'll do both of those things. And beyond that, I think from a parent standpoint, Shelley has at times shown us what Molly's capable of in moments that we maybe didn't even think she could. And Shelley said, oh yes, she can, and she will. And so for that, we're eternally grateful. Shelley, thank you for all you do on behalf of our family and all the other families. Thank you.
I'm definitely a hugger. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Shelley?
Oh, you're doing that. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I want to make sure you were ready for me.
okay. We're ready for you.
All right. My name is Christine Anderson, and I'm a parent of one of our athletes. And I want to thank you for giving me the honor of talking about our fantastic Mahtomedi bowling team strike force. First, I'll describe the team's accomplishments and their season, and then at the very end, I will ask that our athletes who are here come up and receive a certificate. So let's start out with the season. The team practices at Pins in Oakdale, and they prepared for the 2019 State Adapted Bowling Tournament held at Bolero Bowl in Brooklyn Park. There's 2 Boleros, by the way, and I went to the other one. I'm just saying. Strike Force athletes competed in singles and doubles competitions, and in 3 divisions, including physically impaired, cognitively impaired, and autism. 9 athletes participated in the state qualifier, which is sponsored by the Minnesota Adapted Athletic Association. Of those, 7 athletes qualified to bowl for medals in the state finals, which is sponsored by the Minnesota State High School League. 5 of those athletes earned medals in the state finals. And I'll read off their names first. I'll speak a little more, and then I'll have them come up. First of all, we had Kari Commander, who was a state champion girls singles, bowling a 102 and a 108. Molly Thompson, second place girls singles, bowling a 101 and a 105. Mitchell Kushki, sixth place boys singles, bowling an 88 and a 100. Jenny Anderson and Caroline Smith, fourth place doubles. Jenny bowled a 117 and a 65, and Caroline bowled a 103 and a 54. According to Miss Mitchell, the team worked hard all season to prepare, and it was fun to see the athletes bowl so well the day of the tournament. It was amazing to have 5 of our Mahtomedi Strike Force athletes bring home a medal. That's not an easy feat. The team had support from many great people, and Shelley would like to recognize a few of them, and so would all of us parents. Staff from the high school and middle school, and a special shout out to Suzanne Erickson. Paraprofessionals Donna Starkey, Poonam Samtani, Susan Gustafson, Kim Ficadenti, I'm probably wrecking her name, sorry, Becca Boynton, oh good, Danielle Carter. Our peer mentors, Colin Grandstand, Lauren Zimmerman, and of course, all of our friends and parents and grandparents who get to participate and enjoy this wonderful sport. Coach Shelley Mitchell is very proud of all her athletes, their efforts, and their success. She is ready to get started on another great season of adapted bowling, which marks her 19th year of coaching. So that's fantastic. Let's just give a round of applause for Shelley and the team. All right, next I'd like to call up our athletes, and our first, we'll start with our senior, Molly Thompson. Let's find your certificate. Oh, they're in here somewhere. Okay.
Somewhere.
Oh, you're probably the very last one.
Supposed to be a last one in there.
That's good, though. What do you think? Oh! Oh, there she is. Thank you, Molly. Why don't you go up front, and then you can get your hand shaken. Handshake? Handshake's up there. Let's see, we have Jenny Anderson. I pulled that one up front. It didn't get in that stack. I didn't practice this part, sorry. There you are, Jenny Anderson. Congratulations. Front by Molly.
Sam.
All right. Sam Crichton, come on up. This is funny. There we go. I think I've caught everyone that's here tonight, so thank you very much. Let's give our athletes a round of
You want to just come over?
Yep, if the school board members could come around the students, that would be great. Thank you.
Well, I'll be together.
Okay, Judy, if I can have you make a little towards Lucy, then I can see you. Okay, thank you.
Okay. We do not have a report from our student representative, and we've approved the agenda with some flexibility. So I would like to now jump to the second page of your agenda to action items, number 10B, approval of Mahtomedi School District Strategic Plan. Ms. Dufferin.
Okay, thanks for all of you who came out. That was a hard act to follow. I don't know, and I'm still regrouping a little bit here. Thank you to all of you who came and were recognized this evening, and thank you to all of you who came tonight, who have been members of the strategic plan. We're glad you're here tonight too. To hear. We're requesting your approval of our strategic plan this evening, and so we're going to recap some of the conversations we've had so far this summer. Oh, that's me who does this, huh? There we go. So I am going to start this off, and then I'm going to hand it off to Patrick Crothers and Alice Seufert, who have been the internal facilitators of the plan, to give you a little more detail. But we will go over the overview of the strategic planning process and the involvement of the people who have been involved, give you an overview of the plan, some themes of the plan, and our next steps as well. So just as a recap, the strategic planning process was guided by me and facilitated by Dr. Bill Cook of the Cambrian Group, but the majority of the work was done by Patrick and Alice, who are going to be presenting. They were our internal facilitators, and they did quite a bit of work to guide all those participants, of which we had about 100 of us working on this plan. So we are very thankful for all of their efforts on this. This process was not something that we took lightly or we did quickly. It took us from January until now to be able to bring this forward for approval. We are presenting it tonight for approval, and we intend to share this at our kickoff on August 28th with all staff. So the questions that we answered as part of this planning process, so we set out to answer: who are we? Who do we aspire to be? What's possible? And then how are we going to get there? So through this process, we spent a lot of time defining what makes Mahtomedi Public Schools unique. And our plan, although the process is a process that I've used before in previous districts and Dr. Cook has been doing for many, many years, this plan is unique to Mahtomedi Public Schools. And we really work to push ourselves to articulate who we aspire to be. Not just who we are now, but who we aspire to be. As a community and as a district, we're going to establish what student outcomes we expect as a result of students going through Mahtomedi Public Schools. And we're going to be looking to define our excellence beyond our traditional measures of excellence that we have
We've been successful for a long time, and so what can we do to really define who we are and what excellence really looks like in Mahtomedi Public Schools? And again, our strategic plan is unique to Mahtomedi Public Schools because it was developed by our community and it's owned by all of us. So these are the cardinal features of our strategic plan as a diagram, and again, Alice and Patrick will go into them in more depth. We started with our beliefs. What do we believe regardless of context? We moved on to our mission. What is our purpose as a community, as a school district? We established our objectives of those things that we expect. We want all students, when students leave us, what do we expect to see from them? We established our strategies, what are we going to do? And also our parameters, what are our guide rails? Those are the things that were done by our planning team. And then we the planning team handed it off to other members of our community who created action plans under each of those strategies, some specific steps they expected for the district as a result of writing this strategic plan and those strategies to achieve it. And I think at this point, this is where you step in, am I right about that?
You keep going.
Oh, I do keep going. I'm going to keep going. So our planning team, sorry, I really am I am distracted by all the fun we had for the first half hour. So our planning team was the first stage of the strategic plan process, and it included approximately 30 district and community leaders. We had students, we had graduates, recent graduates, we had teachers, administrators, and parents, community members, and I think I already went through this, what they established, but we did this work in February over the course of 3 days in February, and it was exhausting. There are people nodding in the audience right now, I'm sure, who left each day with a headache and just absolutely exhausted because of the hard work of just really trying to define who it is we aspire to be, who are we, and who do we aspire to be. Then again, we took our work and we handed it off to the action teams, and we had 70 volunteers for this process, which is really quite remarkable. And what another part of this that was remarkable was the expertise in the room. We had amazing people step up and use their expertise. That I was just amazed by what came out of this because of all of the community members who are willing to come out and support our work and share with us. And so we had 6 different action teams, and there were about 10 to 15 people in each of those teams. And so they were each led by district leaders. We had teachers and administrators working together on each of those plans, and they met a number of times through May. Okay, so this is the point where I step back, and Patrick and Alice, sorry.
So Alice put together a video to share some of the experiences. Yep.
Okay. So the last time when we shared a video, it was right after the planning team finished their work, and that was in February. And then after the action teams finished their work, we took a few minutes with as many members that we could gather to chat with them and see what was it like being a part of the process. So this video is going to share with you it's about 5 minutes, and it's just a glimpse into, we thought the best way to show you what it was like being a member is to have the members share their voice. So we're going to show that video.
Strategy of very, very passionate community and staff members here, and I was so excited to see how excited our community was and how passionate and how many ideas our community had about it. The process was definitely a learning process for the whole group, but I think we came together at the end and
came up with some really good ideas for our strategy.
I thought the process was really challenging, but we had great conversations with educators and community members, parents, and it was hard, but I'm glad that what I learned is to trust the process, and I really think that the results that we're coming up with truly do reflect what we want as a school district for the students of my
Really, for me in this process has been getting to know the people in my group. We have a pretty diverse group of parents and community members, staff and teachers, and everyone's perspective has been really different, and I think we've created a pretty well-rounded plan because everyone's coming from really different backgrounds. So that's been really fun. And I also feel really encouraged about just the future of our district and what we're doing for our kids, because in my life,
I've been really encouraged by all the positivity that we've had during the process, and I was really enlightened by the newly written mission and objectives and knowing where we're going in this district, and I'm so excited to have all the community come together to work on this process. It's been very challenging, but it's been very insightful, and the wisdom of all of the participants has been truly enlightening for me.
I really enjoyed this process. I didn't know what to expect at first. It was a little intimidating. Dr. Cook explained how this process would roll, and we just didn't know how it was going to work. And so when Kathy, my other co-leader, and I got together with our team, it was really exciting, and we didn't quite know what direction we were going to head into. The community members were wonderful. They offered a lot of wonderful ideas outside the box, how to connect the schools to the
I think this process was exciting as a mom of kids in Wildwood, because we're going to be in this district for a really long time. And to think that Mahtomedi is taking the time and effort to be proactive and very thoughtful and intentional about what we want for our students means a lot to me as a mom. Coming from a nonprofit background and doing strategic planning in my past, it was exciting to meet other community leaders and just really dig in.
So I participated in the mental wellness strategic focus, and I was thrilled that the district was paying attention to this topic, and I felt like it was a great opportunity to be able to offer insight, to hear what other parents and staff from the district had to say. Overall, I'm just really excited that our district took time to pursue this topic and the other strategies, and I'm really excited to see what comes of it.
Hi, I was one of the co-leaders for strategy number 6, and we had a great group. I appreciated working with those community members, with our other staff, and listening to people's ideas and their awesome comments, how they care for this community and for our students. We worked well together.
I've really enjoyed being a part of the strategic planning process, and largely because watching it unfold from the beginning of enlisting parents with early in the process to the type of email that went out explaining our process all the way through.
I was a co-leader of strategy number 4, and that is to help students develop their passions and to find their passions. It was a great experience for us as a group. We had an awesome group of community members, staff members, administrators, and we had some great conversations when it came to what does our district want to do to find passion in our students and for our students as they go on and leave Mahtomedi schools. We have
We thought that was a really fun way to show the voice of people that actually participated in the process. So again, close to 100 community members participated. When we think about everyone that participated, whether it was during the planning team or whether it was during the action teams, participants who were in those rooms used their experience and the current information that they had at the time to create the plan. It was built organically by our community with the intention that everyone can find their connection to the plan. We like to say this is our plan. It isn't the superintendent's plan. It isn't the school board's plan. It's our plan. So we're going to talk about level 2. What's level 2? So if you look at that little graphic at the bottom there, we call level 2 Patrick and I call it really epic. This is an epic moment. And what that means is that if you look at that dashed line on the bottom, homeostasis is just as bad as if we were going to go down. Okay? So what we're doing in level 2, level 2 is where you see that new identity. That's what we're doing now. So our strategic plan isn't something to put on a shelf. It's not a pretty book that we look at. It's something that we're going to live in, and it's not static. We're going to test it out, and that means living in it, testing it out, evaluating, learning. I like to say that it's kind of like the STEM of ask, imagine, plan, create, improve. That's what we're going to keep doing in the strategic plan. That's why it doesn't sit on a shelf. That's why it's going to keep changing. We're going to respond to it. And I think some of the bullets that I just want to highlight, this is now living system. We're going to continue to learn and implement. So you'll hear those two words a lot with our strategic plan. This is a concept that we're learning, or this is a concept that we're implementing. So you hear those two words throughout.
So the first work that the planning team did was our belief statements. And these are our beliefs inform and they inspire everything in the plan. You see that they're going to be worded as we believe that, not what we believe in. These are the driving force of the strategic plan. And this took, I think we were all a little bit surprised when Dr. Cook said this is going to be the first part of the day of what we were going to do. It seemed very easy, but this took some time. So again, these are our fundamental values, our convictions, and our character. We believe that everyone needs to give and receive love. We believe that integrity is critical to trusting relationships. We believe that success does not demand perfection. We believe that joy must be a part of the human experience. We believe that diversity strengthens community and individuals. We believe that all people deserve compassion and unconditional acceptance. We believe that change is necessary for growth. We believe that all voices deserve to be honored. We deserve that each person has immeasurable worth. We believe that each person has the desire and the capacity to learn and grow. We believe that everyone has the right to be and feel safe. And we believe that hope motivates people to persist. Again, these are the driving force. Everyone should be able to relate to something in here, and this and should be meaningful to each of us. And this is the driving force that we really used at the beginning to drive the whole strategic plan.
So this is the skeleton of our mission. We wanted to show you what it was like to put it together, and because there may be a response of, why isn't your mission statement just one sentence? And there's different pieces of it. So you'll see there's our identity in the red. That's what we aspire to be. The greens, our purpose, our why. And then we have critical attributes, the how, the means. The mission of the Mahtomedi School District, the unified community of courageous hearts and curious minds dedicated to inspiring personal excellence, is to ensure that each student is a bold agent of learning who successfully pursues their passions while advancing the greater good through a vital system distinguished by environments that inspire curiosity, an inclusive learning community, an array of exceptional learning experiences, teaching and learning that imparts a global view, culture of empathy that empowers the whole person. Our mission statement is the declaration of our intent. This includes what we aspire to be, our purpose, why, and the critical attributes, how we are going to do it. This mission should make us think. It should make us ask questions. And certain components may lend themselves to individual interpretation, and other components may seek us to help them understand. Courageous hearts may be about brave empathy, receiving and giving fearless love, taking risks and pursuing passions, or knowing self-worth and confidence in how that worth is valuable. Curious minds may be about exploration without perfection, the value of discovery, and asking what's possible, or seeking information and experiences in wonder.
So at the beginning, we saw the diagram that spelled out the whole, or showed you what the whole strategic plan is going to look like, the visual. So the parameters are the rules. These are the guideposts that we have to stay within. They're agreements that we all have. Our parameters are we'll make decisions based on the best interest of the student. We'll honor the worth and the dignity of each person. We will ensure that the allocation of resources is equitable. We will practice participatory decision-making. We will not compromise excellence, and we will be responsible stewards of all of our resources.
Before I talk about objectives, I want to talk about the picture for a second. So this was during preschool graduation this year, and our superintendent goes and gives diplomas and shake hands, and when this student came down and heard her name, it was like she was on The Price is Right. And she was so excited to graduate preschool. And so when we talk about objectives and we talk about, this is a student who's just entering this year, she'll be in kindergarten. When we're talking about objectives, we're talking about measurable, observable, and demonstrable results that realize the mission. And in time, we'll develop tools to measure our district's success in these areas. All students are bold participants in shaping democracy. All students complete their chosen learning program. All students discover and pursue their passions. All students have a beneficial impact on their community. All students know how their authentic strengths intersect with the needs of the world.
So our strategies are what are going to help us accomplish our mission and our objectives, and basically it's telling us how we're going to get there. So the work of the planning team came up with the following strategies for the strategic plan. We'll define learning and teaching without barriers. We'll ensure the social and emotional well-being of students with an emphasis on mental wellness. We'll create the organizational capacity necessary to pursue our mission and objectives. We'll provide students opportunities to draw out and pursue their passions. We'll foster reciprocal relationships of learning experiences for all students with civic, service, and community groups. And we will expand existing worldviews to promote understanding.
When we talked earlier about the action teams developed action plans, and we wanted to show you what an action plan looks like. And so why it's important and what we want to point out here is where the result, so Patrick just shared the strategy, so there's strategy, and then there was a result. And each strategy had multiple action plans. And those results are put into our plan here. Under each strategy, all of the results are listed, and we have 28 results. So when we're thinking about learning, and when I said we're going to talk about learning and implementing, these are the learning and implementing pieces that we're going to be doing this year. So these 28 pieces, they're divided up that we're all working on together.
So one of the things about the strategic plan is that with each action team, as they worked through the strategy and the results that they wanted, what we see is we see a lot of overlap and common themes that go throughout each of the strategies and weave back and forth. And so even though there were result statements, there were common themes that came through all of these. And so these are our common themes that we pulled out from our strategic plan. Personal excellence, community impact, exceptional learning and teaching, development and pursuit of passion, a culture of trust, a sense of belonging and purpose, and the agency of students and staff. And so I talk a lot about agency, and there are people who have said, I know, that maybe we should use a different word, but I'm not giving it up. And so I know that it's not something we typically use, and so I'm on a mission to make it something we typically use, because I think it's a very powerful word. Agency is the capacity and propensity to take purposeful initiative. So it's more than self-direction, it's more than taking ownership. It's having the tools and the wherewithal to take that action, and then the interest, the initiative to take that action. So it requires both that a student has those tools and has learned those tools, but also has had the experiences that they want to take that initiative, that they persevere through challenges, that they know that they can do it. And so that requires a different sort of, requires a student-centered way of teaching and learning. And so I think it's a really important word to hold on to, because I think it's a really powerful word. And so it's that students with high levels of agency do not respond passively to their circumstances. They tend to seek meaning and act with purpose. I think it's an important word, so I'm not giving it up yet. So bold agency for students. They create their own future. This is different from preparing students for the future, which is something that we often say. Bold agency means creating your own path, ownership of your identity, defining your own excellence. It's not being a product of external factors. It's not hands-off education. And I'll say, too, that we're talking about agency for students, but this applies for staff as well. When staff have agency, they're able to use their strengths, their passions to make a different environment for students. I'd like to use this diagram because I think it's something that helps you hold on to all the things we talk about with our strategic plan. These are the building blocks for learning. And you'll see agency and curiosity near the top. We've used both of those words in our strategic plan. I was just talking about resilience. You've heard the civic identity comes through with that bold participants in democracy that you heard. Those are all at the top of those building blocks for learning. But you'll notice down at the base, there are things that we need in order for students to achieve agency and for students to be curious. They also need self-regulation. They need stress management. They need a growth mindset. They need sense of belonging. Those things also came through our strategic plan, and you'll see that in some strategies as well. So as we pursue our plan, in some cases, we already have this for students. We'll see students that are curious, that have agency. We see that in some of our students. We're after it for all of our students. And we're after it in multiple different ways, on multiple different paths. And so as part of that, you'll also hear us talking about work around mental health, work around wellness for students, because those are all important parts of us achieving those curious minds and bold agents of learning. So next steps. We'll be talking about this in our Welcome Back event on August 28th. We'll also be communicating this to community and families via our e-news and the Globe. Am I right about that? Yes. We've got it in the Globe? Okay. But really, you're seeing this tonight, But you're going to be hearing it because we're going to be living the plan. You'll be seeing it in different ways, not as a document, but you'll be seeing it in presentations, the recognitions that we have. Follow us on Twitter. There's a lot to see there too. So we'll be living this plan. We'll be learning. And we'll be implementing. And then our next step is also to have each building write their own plan where they get together and say, this is how we uniquely support the work of the district. That's everything. Am I right? Yep. Okay. So, do you have any questions for us before we ask you to approve the plan?
Questions or comments from board members?
Thank you.
I have a comment. I just wanted to sincerely thank everyone who was involved with the process. I think the workload was very heavy, and I think that the strategies and plans demonstrate great insight, and it's very exciting for our district. Thank you.
So we've heard now multiple times about our strategic plan, the process. I think it's important that we continue to hear about it. It is a living document, and so it's something that we're going to be addressing for quite some time. But now I'm looking for a motion from the floor for approval of that plan.
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Moved by Kevin, seconded by Julie. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the strategic plan, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again to all of those who participated in the process and will be continuing to be involved in the process. So we are out of order a little bit. Barb, do you have a preference of where we go next? You want to go back to?
It might just make sense to follow. You would just kind of go back to where we left.
Just want to go to like here, because we
Yes.
never approved.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to go back to item number 8, approval of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes from the July 11th regular meeting, which was 3 minutes, and the August 8th study session.
So moved. Judy? Okay.
Moved by Judy. I didn't catch who seconded.
I'll second it. Thank you.
Moved by Judy, seconded by Julie. Any comments? All those in favor of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So now we have some discussion items. Item 9, starting with calendar events. Are there events that board members would like to call out? I'd like to first thank Julie and Judy for attending the new teacher welcome this week. I thought that was very nice that you were able to be there to welcome the new teachers to our district. We have quite a few new teachers this year, and even some in the audience tonight. So thank you for your beginning dedication to our district. On August 28th, we have the district welcome and teacher of the year from 10 to noon. I know I will be attending. Any other board members able to attend? Julie will be there. Kevin? Okay.
I'm a solid maybe.
A solid maybe. All right. We hope it turns into a yes. All right. Anything else on the events, Kevin?
October 4th. Am I taking your comment?
You go right ahead. I was going to do it in the MAFE thing, but you go right ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
We could do it twice.
Do it twice.
So on October 4th, in the evening, MAFE has its signature party featuring Louis Grove, which if you've not heard Louis Grove, you should. It's a rock and roll band comprised of people, many of them are 50s and 60s, singing the old songs. They have, I saw them last year and they played Joe Walsh, Rocky Mountain Way, and they really did a phenomenal job, I might add. So this is at the Royal Golf Club in Lake Elmo, and we'd love to see you all come out, dress casually, maybe bring old concert t-shirts, you could wear that or whatever. Very casual, and a good time should be had by all.
Any other events people like to call out? There's quite a few really good events to attend. I know Alice is working on the calendar for us to make sure we're attending some of the important events and representing the board, and so watch for more on that. All right, next we have the 2019-2020 budget and financial timeline. Bill Manassi.
Good
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Duffrin. In your board packet and up on your screen, you will see a 2019-2020 budget and financial timeline. So this is similar to prior years, and why you're seeing it this year again is it's right at the beginning of the school year. And so this will be similar to last year from a financial timeline standpoint. And really the purpose of this document is to improve clarity and forecasting for budget and finance. And as I understand it, one of the board goals and the superintendent goals is to improve clarity in the budget process. And my goal is that this assists with that initiative this year. You can read the background information. Obviously, as we know, the school district fiscal year runs from July 1st through June 30th. And then just an important item of note here, the timeline agrees with the budget and staffing preparation calendar internal document provided by administration. And so you're really seeing the end product here from a presentation standpoint, but it's important to note that this timeline agrees with our other important programming areas like our staffing and our curriculum planning as well. So this should be, and hopefully is similar to, you've heard me say this in the past regarding our budget process, but our budget process is a continuous 4-step process. Each step requires school board approval and is open to public inspection and comment. As we all know, the budget year really starts with the property tax levy, and for us, again, next month, we'll be certifying the preliminary, we'll be recommending to certify the preliminary levy for the Pay 20, which is revenue in fiscal 21. So that really starts our budget process with the property tax levy, and then we have our truth and taxation presentation, which is scheduled in December. After that, we'll go into the preliminary budget process, which for us will start looking at the 2020-2021 already, budget in January. And as similar to last year, we will start with some assumptions, options and scenarios, as well as looking deeper at our fund balance policy and sort of our track and progress on that, starting with the 2021 forecast in January of 2020. Then the final or revised budget happens afterwards. This year, we'll be looking at revised budget numbers for the 2019-20 budget in December and January. So that's sort of a confusing time where you're looking at revised budget for the current year and looking at forecast for the next year. So we'll be doing that in December and January. And then finally, our annual financial report and fiscal audit. So the final step includes closing the books and preparing financial statements for review by an independent external CPA firm, in our case, MMKR CPAs. I did talk to Jim Eichten, and he will be out this year in November for everybody's favorite board meeting, the audit report. Looking at the second page, proposed calendar, obviously subject to change as needed and may be amended throughout the year. And just as an example of that, right, we all know that the legislature, when they meet this year, is not in a funding year, but if there was any changes to the funding formula, they may impact this calendar as needed as we look at the 2020-2021 forecast. So you can see, obviously, tonight we're looking at the finance calendar, and really September through December is fairly prescribed. And so we'll spend September looking at the 19 Pay 20 preliminary levy, and we will recommend on the September 26th regular meeting certification of the preliminary levy for action at the board level. As I mentioned, in November, we'll have the audit presentation, and then in December, you'll have the 2019 Pay 2020 Truth and Taxation hearing and presentation. That'll happen at the regular meeting in December. Then right away in January, we will be looking at the revised budget, as I mentioned, in conjunction with the Q2 budget update. And so really in January, that'll give us our first estimate on how our current year budget is tracking, because we'll have a budget update as of the end of the Q2 in the current year, and then we'll also have a revised budget. In the end of January, on January 23rd, we will start looking at next year with some budget assumptions and then options and scenarios on next year's budget forecast. A pretty busy meeting in February at the study session, continuing to look at assumptions as needed and then taking a deeper dive into our fund balance policy and then some longer term financial planning. With the goal, you can see there's nothing in March up there, with the goal that as of the middle to end of February, we would be able to hand off some budget parameters to budget managers, and they would have the month of March to really schedule and program within those parameters. The first meeting in April, the study session, you'll have a Q3 budget update, and then we'll bring back the preliminary budget general fund for just discussion in April. All funds, which would include the community service, food service fund, debt service, and some OPEB funds again in May, and then as needed in June, and then finally for our preliminary action June 25th, 2020, scheduling out that far. So again, just similar to last year, and the intent is to provide clarity so you know what to expect and you know what's coming from a finance budget timeline standpoint. So similar document to a prior year, but take any questions if you have them on the timeline.
Questions?
It's perfectly clear. We all know what to expect. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your good work in making it so clear with no questions. All right. Next, we have the O.H. Anderson Elementary Dehumidification Project. Barb Dufferin.
Yes, so this is just intended to summarize some of the conversations that we've had recently, and so that's why it's in a discussion, and we can certainly have discussion, but primarily I am just intending to summarize. So dehumidification has been brought up as a facilities improvement project for O.H. Anderson to improve indoor air quality. O.H. Anderson was originally built in 1964 and is the oldest of our K-12 school buildings. Air conditioning, which serves to both cool and dehumidify the air, currently exists in the main office, computer labs, media center, and flex lab, and no air conditioning exists in the classrooms, main hallways, kitchen areas. So dehumidification for O.H. Anderson is currently on our long-term facilities 10-year plan. The Finance and Facilities Committee meeting on June 13th heard the concept of dehumidification at O.H. and began the discussion about completing the project during the summer of 2020. Completing the project next summer would mean a tax impact for our district residents in 2020 instead of a future year. And so on August 8th, when the school board held a study session, we continued the discussion of the project. So based on conversations with the community and staff, we wish to continue the discussion in the future, but not complete the project at this time. The project will stay on our long-term facilities maintenance 10-year project list, but we will not complete the project this year because we feel we need to have more conversations about the project with the community. We've talked about being responsible steward of our resources. That's one of our parameters in our strategic plan. And I do think it's a worthwhile project to extend the life of OH, which we intend to maintain as a neighborhood school for many years into the future. That being said, we know projects such as this will impact our community, and we need to have thoughtful and inclusive conversations going forward. So I appreciate the conversations we've had, and that's the purpose of a study session, is to be able to dig into some of these conversations a little more depth, which we've done. And so I look forward to doing that more in the future, but I just wanted to summarize that conversation at this point.
Questions for the superintendent? Judy?
So the best opportunity that you see for this to come before us again will be in 3 years?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where we are putting that on our plan for 3 years from now.
Okay.
All right. Next, we've got a couple other action items to attend to. First, we have the approval of the resolution relating to the 2019-2020 open enrollment and closing all grades. Barb?
Okay, so this is our annual conversation that we have. We are at the point where we are at capacity in all grades, and so I am recommending the resolution as printed in your packet to close all grades at this time for open enrollment. I move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Judy, seconded by Mike. Any discussion? We've done this a number of years. We know what to do. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the last action item for tonight is approval of the superintendent and school board goals. These have been discussed a number of times as well. Barb?
Yes, and so they are also, once again, in your packet. There are no changes since the study session. We created those goals based on our conversations at the retreat when looking at our strategic plan, most specifically digging into strategy 3. In both our goals, we have language directly out of the plan as well, so it is very much in line with the work that you've just approved this evening. So.
It's an action item. Looking for a motion from the floor?
So moved.
Thank you. Moved by Kevin, second by Stacy. Any discussion? I just want to reiterate, we know with our goals that we can change them if we need to mid-year, and we will revisit them and have opportunities to change things as we need to, because it too is a living document like our strategic plan.
I'd just like to thank Barb for the clarity and thoughtfulness that she's brought to the goals. I appreciate that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the superintendent and school board goals, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So now we have some committee reports. AMSD, the Association of Metropolitan School Districts. Barb.
I'm happy to present, or you were there as well, so if you want to jump in. We did hear from Susan Brower, Minnesota State demographer, about the upcoming census and just all that goes into that process. We also awarded Tom Melcher, AMSD awarded Tom Melcher, I think was the Friend of Education Award for his work on behalf of school districts. Anyone who knows Tom Melcher knows that he is brilliant, and we all have a lot to learn from him, and it was touching, actually, to be able to award him that Friend of Education. So I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add.
No.
Okay.
Very nice summary.
Thank you.
Can I add, just from the AMSD Executive Committee, at the last meeting, I was there, standing in for Mike, but I want to let him know that they had an outgoing gift. They were recognizing their outgoing executive committee members, so they have this beautiful plaque for you.
Oh, look at that! Isn't that nice?
That's
Put it on my dash. That's great.
Yeah. So thank you for serving in that role.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. It's been good, and I hope I can do more in the future. But yeah, whoa, that was really cool. I was hoping for a bell. Oh, just kidding. Thanks a lot.
Next, we have MAFE, Mahtomedi Area Education Foundation. Julie.
So we had our August board meeting on Monday, and I would just like to report that there are 6 new board members this year. And Steve Ritt, Eric Bratfield, Barbara White, Molly Wick, and Kate Crampy. So if you see them in the community, make sure to thank them for their efforts on the Education Foundation. I'd like to call out a couple dates. Monday, no, it's not Monday, it's Morning with MAFE is October 23rd. And if any of you attended last year, it is so worth going. I really encourage you to try to get there, because it was a great event, highlighting students. 7:30 in the Media Center. October 23rd.
It's on the calendar of events already also, so you'll find it there.
And there's free breakfast, just to be clear.
Breakfast, yeah. Barb shared our strategic plan with the board. It was well received. And another date that you can keep on the calendar for this year is April 4th. MAFE has gone through a strategic planning process as well, and is trying to really get information out to the community, the important role that MAFE provides supporting the schools, and to encourage people to understand that MAFE is more than just the gala. And point of interest for board members, if you're interested, they provided a sheet explaining grants as they've been distributed by category. It's kind of interesting to see. I'll pass it around if anyone wants to see it. But that's pretty much the summary of Monday's meeting. And the October 4th Louis Groove, you can sign up at mafegives.org. There you go. $30 a ticket.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have the Minnesota School Boards Association. School Board Association is so good with their communication, so you have much of this already on your calendar, but on September 21st will be the Advocacy Day, and it's at the Minnesota League of Cities at 8:30 in the morning. Some of their communication actually was a little confusing because all the other sessions are in the evening time, but ours in the metro area is that morning, Saturday the 21st. I will be attending. If anyone would like to write down together, please let me know. The other big thing coming up on the horizon for them is the delegate assembly. This is the year we vote new delegates to the delegate assembly. Kevin has volunteered and been nominated, and Julie has volunteered and been nominated for that. So for our Area 15, we do have 5 delegates slated, but if anyone else is interested, it would, their name could be also nominated, and then we'd have an election and someone up as an alternate. And then those days are coming up in December. I'm out of town those days with our choir, so I will not be there this year. So I thank Kevin and Julie for stepping up for that opportunity. The nominations close August 30th for that. And Northeast Metro 916 Board.
Before we get to that, I was just wondering if we're looking at, as a board here, doing resolutions for the delegate assembly. And do you know offhand when that closes?
I don't have it on my calendar.
You know, afterwards, we could figure it out if we feel we want to do something. Maybe schedule a time to sit down and do something.
Was it on the brochure that we just received in the mail from MSBA last week that
Do you have
talked
it
about
with
the
you?
student? I thought I had it with me, I must have left it on my desk.
Yeah.
I think that the deadline is similar to the submission for the
It's like
the
September
innovation
23rd
for
or
the
something,
students,
or
right?
September 20th, yeah.
Okay.
That deadline.
Okay.
September 23rd is one of the deadlines. So, yeah, it's in September. We've got a little bit of time. But if there are people interested, do you want to coordinate that, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay.
We always end up doing it together, so that's fine. I'm happy to.
And if you'd let me know if you have a resolution, so we can add it to the agenda, because we'll need to vote on it, and have that be on the next agenda. So, yeah, if other people like to join Kevin and Julie, just let them know. Thank you, Kevin. So now, on to 916.
I don't have a whole lot. I was fortunate to be able to attend an EduCamp program on equity, put on at Hamlin University, and this is, I'm trying to remember now, about a month ago. And it was really wonderful. There were, I'm just guessing now, probably 100 people there. I mean, it was a full house, and predominantly teachers. I might have been the only board member there. No, there was another one. But it was just a day, it was so strong. And they showed a movie, Beyond the Pavement, Rondo Beyond the Pavement. It's a brand new movie out. You can, if you've got Amazon Prime, you can stream that. And if you've been in the Twin Cities for a fairly long period, you would recall in 1956, they cordoned off the land to put the freeway in. It sat dormant then for 8 years before they actually started construction. The houses, the whole neighborhood, Rondo neighborhood, was destroyed, and really caused a lot of issues over the years. And they could have taken, they had the choice of taking that route up the Pierce Butler through an industrial and not disrupted the neighborhood. But this pattern has happened through all the major metropolitan areas in the United States over time, putting these freeways in places that are a detriment to the community. So this movie, it's about 50 minutes long. They interview some people that lived in the community back when that was happening, and it's a wonderful movie. I highly recommend it. What else is going on? Trying a new strategy today, or this year, for back to school for 916. As you'll know, there's a number of buildings spread out, and it's hard to get all the staff together. So they're doing, Connie and group is doing a video to kind of welcome all the staff and talk about some new initiatives happening. So, and there's a couple other things, and I'll share that out maybe next month.
Are there any other reports from other subcommittees or board work that's being done?
I can share a brief summary from the facilities meeting, if everyone's interested in that. We had a presentation from Julie Osterbauer tonight at our facilities meeting. Let me just write this up for you. She shared with us the 1920 projects that have been worked on for using long-term facilities maintenance funds. They added a walk-in cooler and freezer at O.H. Anderson. They painted the kitchen. They steam cleaned the bathrooms. They recoated and striped the track. That's the first time that's been done since 2010. New dimming and lighting in the Chautauqua, and LED lighting in the lobby. And they have new intercoms for the green room in the Chautauqua, and that will be installed soon. And the district would just like to express our gratitude to the city for the cleaning of the water tower, as it looks so lovely, as you all notice it up by St. Andrews. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else. Julie also shared with us a security update on the money that we received from the state of Minnesota, and that work should be completed after school starts. It includes the installation of warning lights, a lockdown for the office, and door alarms. So there was a staffing issue, and so we thought that would be done by the beginning of school, but it'll be done shortly after school starts. So that's pretty much it.
All right, superintendent's report.
Well, I will be brief, but I did want to highlight that we had our ECFE vehicle fair again this week, and I could hear it from my house, and it was pretty fun, as always. Lots of horn honking and big trucks outside, and kids who were just thrilled to be climbing around in there. So thank you to the early childhood staff that put that together. This week has been just fabulous with our instructional leadership team back, our special education licensed staff, and our new teachers. And we've got one in the audience there. Look at that. We're so excited that you're here. He's still here, too. This is really unprecedented. So it's been a really fun week, lots of energy, people back and excited, and it's just a fun time of year for all of us who have been here in these quiet buildings, and to have the teachers back is just fabulous. And of course, the students are back too in the buildings, and activities have started up. So I'll just leave it at that, let you know that here we go, and we're excited for it. So next week will be even better, so.
Thank you. So next on our agenda, we're going to close the meeting to discuss labor negotiations under Minnesota Statute 13D03. After our discussion, we will open the meeting just to adjourn. If you would like to stay and watch us adjourn, you can wait in the hallway. Also unprecedented, but
Also very impressive.
Very unprecedented, but if you'd like to, we understand. Thank you for coming tonight, especially our new teachers and new principals. Thank you so much. You want to take maybe